guys, I'm back this week. What a surprise! That's a treat. So what I decided this past weekend is that I'm going to do 3 book reviews during the week. I'm gonna do one take, little quick book reviews on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So you essentially get 3 book reviews in a week. And yeah. However, tonight is going to be different. I actually got myself my first comics ever. Yay! And before I actually did a review on a comic book, I actually wanted to get some more input on anything that I might be missing before I review it. Because from what I've gathered of just hearing people talk when they refer to comics or they're discussing comics, there's a lot to it, and I'm pretty sure I'm missing bits and pieces. So that's what I wanted to do. Yeah, so this is just going to be my first impression of reading a comic book and what I noticed, and let me know if I forgot anything that I also need to notice. So let's just get started, because this might get lengthy if I keep rambling. So first off, I noticed that the art style is very different compared to manga. I have read manga for years, and so for me, comics is extremely brand new. I never had anywhere to buy them, and since I now had the chance to get some comics this past Sunday, I decided I would. And so art style is a lot more detailed compared to the simplified variations of manga. There's some manga that's extremely detailed, but I feel like just a regular, same old comic book is way more detailed than the comparative for a manga. So I noticed that right off the bat, and that might hinder it, that might make it better, I'm not sure yet. I'm getting used to it, so I don't think it'll be as bad after I get used to it. I also noticed that there's subtleties that I need to pay attention to. I'm used to just reading and comprehending the written portions from the mangas. I'll pick up things from my peripherals as I read, and if it's interesting enough, I'll look at the image more. But what I noticed when I was reading my first comic was that there was something, like I read one frame and then I moved down and then I came to a frame and was like, where did this come from? And turns out that I also have to observe and comprehend the frames of the artwork. So I not only have to comprehend all the written portion, I now have to comprehend the artwork, which isn't really that hard as long as I'm not like zoning out or anything. But that is something new that I actually had to work on with the first comic after probably, I'd say maybe the first 30 pages, I guess. I'm not sure. Dialogue was also something I noticed. And this was actually a switch from what I'm used to with manga. Manga, from everything that I've read, you have a lot of conversational dialogue with some inner monologuing. What I noticed with the comics is that you have a lot of inner monologuing with some conversational dialogues. And so they just basically switched, and I don't have a problem with that. I really don't have a problem with that, actually, because the artwork itself is already telling enough of a story that you don't need to have so much written portion to it. And that's why if I'm comprehending the artwork, I won't be so lost. Another thing, gender characteristics. I've only so far read, with a few comics that I got, I've only gotten comics that have female roles as being the lead roles. And roles, something. But, and that was mainly because when I asked Sean and the head clerk, I guess you could call him, whose name I forget, and I'm really, really sorry if you see this. So if you do see this, let me know down below, and I'll figure out a way to remember it forever and ever. All I remember is just telling you that you looked like Will Wheaton. Maybe I'll just call you Will from now on. But what I told them that I was wanting is I just wanted comics with boobs, essentially. How hard is it to find comics with boobs? And at first they asked if I wanted a storyline, and originally I said no, and then I thought back to some yaoi that I got that had no storyline, and I cared not for it. So it was like, you know what? Make sure there is a storyline, because I don't want a repeat of that. So they picked out some comics that had essentially female roles, like leading female roles. And what I've gathered so far of those gender characteristics is that it's like, yay, women! Go women! We're powerful! And So I noticed that, and then obviously they're well endowed. Why not? And then they are decently shaped. They're pretty much hourglassy. Maybe their waists are a little bit tinier than they should be in some of the frames. But at the same time, they have a lot of muscle definition, and that actually made me feel better because it's like, she's got some awesome thunder thighs. And so I let it go. For the men portion, the only thing that I've got with like a male leading role for the comics I got was the first volume of Sin City, and that has Marv. And I'm not going to base those gender characteristics off of Marv because I know better. I love the movie, and I know how it's supposed to be. So it's like, yeah, no, not Marv. Although he is one of my favorite characters. Another thing, and this was just something for me personally, was that I was always overwhelmed with how much there is in the comic book world, that I didn't know where to start. And thankfully the guys, when I told them, I've never been into comics, like this is my first time, I've only done mangas, they were very helpful in finding me something good to start me off, especially after asking for something with boobs. And so what I found out was that you can actually start with more recent material. I always thought you had to start from like back at the very beginning, and I want to say World War II era because they were discussing something else and they mentioned like World War II era, and I was like, oh, maybe that's... I'm just kind of piecing information together from what I hear. But so I found out that because there's multiple universes and multiple stories, you have the different writers, you have the different illustrators and whatnot, that you don't have to start from the very beginning. You can actually pick up from a new universe or a new world that's more modern for today, or you can kind of start a little bit ways back if you want. And so that made me feel less overwhelmed with everything. And the other thing I picked up was that essentially the comic book world is extremely diverse. There's so much to it. And so there's the culture, there's the language, there's the information and knowledge that you have going into it. You have the different types of analysis, which is actually why I wanted to make sure I don't forget anything specific I need to know before I review a comic. Because I've heard people discuss comics amongst each other, and they discuss things that I've never heard of or imagined that you could discuss about, and off the top of my head, I don't remember them. So that's why I'm coming to you guys. And I know that I can figure this out. I myself, I'm part of a culture of beadwork, or beaders, if you want to go along with that. And so it has its own language kind of thing, and if I wanted to, I could just spout off terminology like Mayuki, Toho, Delica, seed beads, 15s, 11s, check pressed, crimps, blah 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 blah, gold filled, whatever. And guaranteed you guys didn't understand about 80% of what I was just naming off. And that's essentially what it kind of sounds like to me right now with the comics. So if you guys want to give me language and terminology that I need to look into or to kind of comprehend things better, feel free to let me know. It's all brand new to me. Like I said, I'm a noob. And yeah, so yeah, with the recommendations, just let me know what else I can look into down below or on Facebook or Goodreads or anywhere. And if you have anything that you want to recommend to me for comics, definitely let me know. I can add those to the list, and I might make sure that when I go down to Denver, I'll stop at the comic book shop and I'll pick up some new comics to check out. So yeah, that's basically it. I hope you guys have an awesome night, and I'm going to try and cut this off short before it gets too lengthy. So don't feed the trolls. Remember to hit subscribe down below for book reviews, and hit like on my Facebook, and go to Goodreads, chat with me, and be sure to check out Ocean of Bees because they're awesome. So yeah, you guys have a great night. Bye.